My legs gave out when he kissed my temple, not from joy, but from the shock of 300 pairs of eyes watching the billionaire CEO claim me in front of my family. Vanessa's champagne glass shattered on marble. My mother went white. My brother froze mid-conversation. Because 30 seconds earlier, my sister's voice had carried across the Boston Harbor Hotel reception. She will never be chosen by any man. Laughter rippled through 6 tables. Then Julian walked in. Tom Ford suit. Unshakable confidence. He crossed the ballroom like he owned it. Found me at table 12. Near the bathrooms. Where they'd seated the family embarrassment. Slipped his arm around my waist. Kissed my temple like we'd done this 1,000 times. Sorry I'm late, darling. Meeting ran over. The room went silent. I'm Sierra Blake. I'm 28, and I'm a senior software engineer turned tech consultant. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love connecting with you all, especially if you've ever been invisible in your own family. This is the story of how I went from family joke to the woman they couldn't stop talking about, and how my sister went from golden child to industry pariah. The whispers started immediately. 300 guests suddenly very interested in table 12. Vanessa recovered first. Always did. Sierra. Her smile was razor-sharp. You didn't mention you were bringing someone. I met her eyes. Didn't blink. You didn't ask. My mother appeared, clutching her clutch like a lifeline. Her wounded sound broke the silence. Sweetheart, we didn't know you were. 18 months. Julian's hand tightened on my waist. His voice carried across 3 tables. I told you at Thanksgiving. You changed the subject to talk about Vanessa's promotion. My mother's face crumpled. Vanessa's wine glass stopped halfway to her lips. My father stood, extending his hand like this was a business meeting he could control. I don't think we've met. Robert Blake. Julian shook his hand. Julian Hawk. Sierra's told me a lot about you. Vanessa set down her glass before she dropped it. Her voice came out strangled. Hawk. Like Hawk Technologies. Julian's smile didn't reach his eyes. That's the one. Ethan appeared, my brother's face going red. You're the CEO. Julian Hawk. The Julian Hawk. Guilty. The room went silent again. But this time, everyone was staring at my family. My sister's hand trembled. Sierra, you didn't mention you were dating a billionaire. I supplied. You never asked who I was seeing. You assumed he wasn't worth mentioning. The table nearest us had gone silent. Then the next. Like dominoes falling. My father's voice dropped low. Dangerous. Sierra, could we speak privately?
No.
I didn't move from Julian's side. Whatever you want to say it here. He glanced around. Saw the phones. The recording. His jaw tightened.
Fine.
Mr. Hawk, I think there's been some kind of misunderstanding.
About what?
Julian's voice was pleasant. Terrifying. My mother jumped in, her voice gentle. Embarrassed for me. Sweetheart, we know you might have hired someone for tonight. For appearances. It's okay, we're not angry. Julian pulled out his phone.
Scrolled.
Turned the screen toward my family. A photo of me and Julian at a restaurant from 6 months ago. Another from a year ago, my head on his shoulder. Another from 18 months back, kissing in front of a sunset. Vanessa's face went white. That's actually you. For 18 months, Julian said quietly, while you seated her at table 12. They moved us to the head table for dinner. Suddenly, I existed. Suddenly, I mattered. It was excruciating. Questions came rapid fire. How did you meet? What does he do? How long have you been together? Julian answered patiently. Every question. We met 2 years ago. Hospital's stairwell. My mentor and Sierra's grandmother were best friends for 40 years. My mother's fork clattered. Giuseppe Romano? You know Giuseppe's. He died 3 months after Sierra's grandmother. Yes. Vanessa leaned forward, trying to regain control. That's so romantic. Sierra, you should have told us. We could have. Could have what? I cut her off. Pretended to care? My father cleared his throat. Warning voice.
Sierra.
Julian's voice cut through.
No.
Quiet. Lethal. Let her finish. Vanessa's eyes darted around the table, landing anywhere but on me. We've always supported you. You offered me a receptionist position. My voice stayed level. 2 days after Grandma's funeral, I was a senior engineer, nominated for lead architect, the youngest nominee in company history. Silence crashed over the table. Ethan's voice was barely audible. Lead architect? You never said. I did. 3 years ago. You said that's nice and asked if I'd seen your new car. Vanessa jumped in.
Quick.
Defensive. We didn't know it was that big of a deal. Because you never asked what I actually did. I turned to her. Finally. You knew I worked in tech. You called it computer stuff and changed the subject. My mother's voice cracked. Sierra, we thought you were struggling. The freelancing, the small apartment. I cleared 6 figures last year, Mom. This year I'll clear 7. By October. My father's face went purple. Vanessa looked like she might be sick. Julian's voice cut through the silence. She didn't quit because she was failing. She left a senior engineering position as the youngest lead architect nominee in company history because you convinced her she was the only one with flexibility. My father started to interrupt. Julian's hand tightened on my waist. He kept going. She walked away from a promotion, from speaking engagements, from a reputation she'd built through pure competence, to care for your dying mother full-time because none of you would help. Vanessa found her voice. That's not fair. We all had demanding jobs. She taught herself new frameworks while caring for your dying mother. Julian's tone never rose.
Didn't need to.
Rebuilt her consulting practice from scratch after your mother passed. She's still getting conference invitations. Her GitHub projects have over 10,000 stars. She's one of the most respected engineers in distributed systems.
He paused.
Let it sink in. And you seated her at table 12. My mother's hand covered her mouth. People at surrounding tables were staring now. Some recording. Vanessa's voice went shrill. You don't know what you're talking about. Sierra chose to quit. She wanted to care for Mom. Julian pulled out his phone again. His thumb moved with deliberate calm across the screen. The only sound in our corner of the room was Vanessa's breathing getting faster. Turn the screen toward my family, then toward the tables nearby. This is an email from Vanessa to Sierra's former boss. 3 years ago, before Sierra even quit. He read it, voice even, loud enough for 10 tables to hear. Sierra's been overwhelmed with family obligations. She's not mentally prepared for the additional responsibility of lead architect. I believe promoting her now would be detrimental to both her well-being and the team's success. Perhaps we should revisit this in a year or 2. The room went dead silent. Julian looked up. Sierra was nominated for lead architect. Vanessa sent this email to undermine her. The promotion was withdrawn. 6 months later, your family convinced Sierra she was the only one with flexibility to quit and care for your dying mother. My mother's voice was barely a whisper. Vanessa, you didn't. That's career sabotage, someone said from the next table. Vanessa stood so fast her chair scraped. I was trying to help. You were trying to destroy me. My voice cut through.
Steady.
Final. Because you were terrified I'd outshine you.
Pause. E.
And you were right. Julian's voice went quiet. Deadly quiet. Her former boss kept the email. Forwarded it to me when I hired Sierra. She could pursue legal action for intentional interference with contractual relations. He let that hang. But she won't. Because she doesn't need to. Vanessa's voice came out strangled. You're going to tell people about this. I just did. Julian gestured around the room. At the 300 guests. At the phones recording. Everyone here now knows exactly what kind of person you are. She fled. Heels clicking frantically across the floor. Mascara already streaming. My mother followed, calling her name. My father sat frozen. Gray-faced. His hands gripped the table edge like he was trying to hold onto something that was already gone. Ethan whispered, Sierra, I didn't know. I looked at him. really looked. You knew enough to stay quiet. His face crumpled. He reached for my arm, then stopped himself. She's our sister. And I wasn't? He had no answer. Just stood there, caught between the sister who'd always won and the one he'd let disappear. Julian stood, offered me his hand. Let's get some air. The video went viral in 3 days. Someone posted it. The full confrontation. Julian reading the email. Vanessa's face collapsing. 3 million views in a week. I thought it was over. I thought we'd won. Then Vanessa called me 4 days later. Her voice was different. Not broken. Calculated. Take it down. I was in my apartment, packing for a conference. I didn't post it. Then tell them to take it down. Please, Sierra. It's destroying my career. Like you destroyed mine? Silence. Then her voice went cold.
Precise.
You think you've won. You think Julian's money protects you. But I have something you don't know about. The floor tilted under me. What are you talking about? Dad helped me write that email, Sierra.
He was the one who suggested it. He has texts.
Emails. Proof that you asked him to intervene because you were struggling with the promotion stress. Her voice was almost cheerful now. If you don't kill this video, I'll release everything. Make you look like you manipulated this whole narrative. She hung up. I stood there, shaking. Because my father had asked me once, 3 years ago, if I was feeling overwhelmed with the new responsibilities. I'd admitted I was nervous. One conversation. One moment of honesty. And they'd weaponized it. I called Julian. She's not backing down. She has my father helping her. They're going to say I made it all up. His voice went ice cold. Then we go deeper. I didn't spiral. I got strategic. If they wanted to play with receipts, I'd bury them in paper. I reached out to former colleagues. Started asking questions. Found out I wasn't Vanessa's first victim. 3 years earlier, another woman. Same pattern. Sabotage email. Anonymous complaints. The woman quit the industry entirely. Her name was Michelle. Took me 2 days to find her. I thought I was crazy, Michelle said when I called. Everyone said I was being paranoid. That I was making it about gender when I was just underperforming. My pulse hammered in my ears. Did you keep the email? I kept everything. I just never knew what to do with it. It was 3 years ago. I figured no one would care now. I exhaled. Finally. I know exactly what to do with it. There's more, Michelle said quietly. Your father was on the hiring committee when they passed me over for promotion. Same month as the email. He abstained from the vote. Said he had a conflict of interest but never explained what it was. I slid down my spine. He knew Vanessa was doing this to other women. I think he was helping her eliminate competition. Not just for Vanessa. For the right kind of women in leadership. I didn't go public. I went legal. My lawyer sent a cease and desist with evidence of defamation. Michelle filed a formal complaint with Vanessa's professional association and added my father's name to it. My former boss gave a deposition about the original email and confirmed my father had called him twice to express concerns about my readiness. Vanessa's firm was forced to investigate. So was my father's. She called me at 3 a.m. drunk. They fired me. Are you happy now? I was in bed. Julian asleep beside me. I kept my voice low. I didn't get you fired, Vanessa. You did this to yourself. Her words slurred. I've lost everything.
My job.
My reputation. Dad might lose his board seat because of your witch hunt. It's not a witch hunt when you actually did it. I'm your sister. My voice went cold. You were never my sister. You were my competition. And you lost. I hung up. The fallout was swift. Vanessa moved to Portland 2 months later. Not to start fresh. She moved because she couldn't show her face in Boston anymore. My father resigned from 2 boards before they could force him out. Her LinkedIn disappeared.
Her social media went dark.
His professional network went silent. I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. My parents changed. Stopped going to their usual places. Too many people had seen the video. They called every week now. Desperate. I answered. Briefly.
Politely. Distantly.
6 months after the fallout, the wedding invitation arrived. Cream cardstock. Luxuriously thick. No names. No addresses. Just GPS coordinates and a date in May. I sent it to my parents because they were still family, even if barely. They'd have to work to find me. One last test. My mother called 2 days later. GPS coordinates? Sierra, what? I smiled. It's easier than explaining the address. Where are you getting married? Julian's family villa.
Tuscany.
6 generations. Long pause. Her voice went faint. His family owns a... I'll see you in May, Mom. They arrived at golden hour on a Friday. Rental cars winding up the Cypress Line drive. The villa rose before them. Honey-colored stone, terracotta roofs, gardens that had been tended for 200 years. The air smelled like lavender and sun-warmed rosemary. Vanessa wasn't invited. Didn't stop my parents from bringing her. I met them in the courtyard. Afternoon light turning everything honey gold. Vanessa stepped out of their car. Designer dress. Face hard. Nice place. How much does Julian's family charge for weddings? They don't. It's their home. Must be nice playing princess in someone else's castle. It's not someone else's castle, Vanessa. It's mine too. My mother looked like she might cry. Why didn't you tell us? You never asked. You assumed I was failing. So, I stopped trying to convince you otherwise. My father cleared his throat. Sierra, that's not entirely fair. His voice lacked conviction, like he was reading lines he'd rehearsed but no longer believed. I've been coming here for 2 years, learning Italian, meeting locals, building a life. I gestured at the villa. While you called me unemployed, I was closing deals that funded this entire year. Speaking at conferences in 4 countries. Building something you couldn't see because you refused to look. Vanessa's face drained of color. Her breathing went shallow. Your rooms are upstairs. Dinner's at 7. I walked away. The ceremony was at sunset. Long table under grapevines. Olive branches tied to posts. Handmade lanterns glowing. 40 people. Every single one mattered. No photographer. Just Marco with his film camera, catching real moments. My family sat at the far end. They looked like they were attending someone else's life. Julian's vows destroyed me. I met you in a hospital stairwell.
Crying.
Broken. Convinced you'd lost everything. His voice cracked. You taught me that wealth isn't what you own. It's what you build with people who actually see you. You were invisible to them, but you were all I could see. I glanced at my family. My father stared at his plate, eyes red. My mother cried silently. Vanessa's face was stone. She found me after dinner. Olive Grove. Light fading to purple. She'd been drinking. I could tell by how carefully she walked. Vanessa's voice finally cracked. I don't understand. You were nothing. You couldn't keep a job. You were. I stayed calm. I was never nothing, Vanessa. You just needed me to be nothing, so you could feel like something. This place, Ethan's wedding cost $200,000 and felt empty. This probably cost 20 and feels like. I finished for her. Like love. She broke. Voice splintering. Hands shaking so hard she had to clasp them together. I wore this dress to make you feel small. I know. Did we destroy you? You tried. But you only delayed me. I stepped back. And I got to build this with Julian. Without you watching. Without you judging. Without you making me small.
Pause.
You just have to live with knowing what you almost missed. My father found me an hour later by the stone wall. The valley stretched below us, lights from distant villages starting to glow. He stood beside me.
Silent.
For the first time in years, he didn't try to control the conversation. Finally, your mother keeps asking when we lost you. I didn't turn around. The day you stopped looking. She went through old photos, trying to find moments where she actually asked about your life. His voice broke. She can't find any. Not in 6 years. He handed me an envelope. Yellowed.
Sealed.
Your grandmother left you this. Your mother was supposed to give it to you after the funeral. She kept forgetting. Found it in her safety deposit box last week. I opened it alone. Later. The paper was thin. That old kind that feels like fabric between your fingers. My grandmother's handwriting slanted across the page, the same loops and curves I'd seen on birthday cards for 28 years. My darling Sierra, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And I need you to know something. I heard what they said. What Vanessa told your boss. What your parents say when they think no one's listening. Leave them. Not with anger. Not with revenge. Just leave. Build a life so beautiful they can't touch it. Find people who see you. Let yourself be seen. And when they finally realize what they've lost, because they will, my darling, they will, don't give them the satisfaction of your forgiveness too easily. Make them earn it. Make them understand the weight of what they almost destroyed. All my love, Nana. I read it 3 times. Found my mother in the garden, staring at the herbs we'd planted. Not moving. Mom. She turned, face ravaged by grief. Her hands shook as she spoke. I found a journal entry. From 4 years ago. You told me you'd gotten promoted to senior engineer. I wrote about Vanessa's new car. Her voice cracked. 3 years ago, you told me you were nominated for lead architect. I wrote about Ethan's engagement. 2 years ago, you told me you were seeing someone who made you happy. I wrote about my book club. She sat down hard on the bench. Her words came out broken. I erased you. For 6 years, I erased you. And I didn't even notice I was doing it. I know. How many years did I lose with you? How many moments where you needed me and I wasn't there? She looked up, desperate. How do I get those years back? I knelt beside her. Let the silence sit. My voice was quiet. Final. You don't. She sobbed. Full body. The sound of something breaking that can't be fixed. I'm so sorry. I destroyed my own daughter, and I didn't even notice. I stood slowly. You didn't destroy me, Mom. You almost did. But I wouldn't let you. I looked down at her. You'll spend the rest of your life knowing what you missed. Every birthday. Every achievement. Every moment where I needed my mother and got silence instead. I walked toward the villa. That's your consequence. Living with it. 1 year later. My phone rang. Unknown number. A woman's voice. Professional. Sierra Blake. Speaking. This is Catherine Morrison. I worked with your grandmother before she retired. The phone felt heavy in my hand. She left something with me. Asked me to deliver it 1 year after your wedding. Said you'd need time to settle first. I gripped the phone tighter. What is it?
A file.
Documentation. Of every time your family dismissed you. Every achievement they ignored. Every conversation they interrupted. She kept records, Sierra. For 6 years.
Dates.
Witnesses. Everything. My fingers went numb. Why? Catherine's voice softened. She said, if my granddaughter ever doubts herself, if she ever thinks she imagined how bad it was, give her proof. Let her know she wasn't crazy. It was real, and she survived it.
Pause.
There's a note attached. You don't need this to prove anything to them. You need it to prove something to yourself. You were always worth seeing. They were just blind. I thanked her. Hung up. Didn't open the file. Because Nana was right. I didn't need proof anymore. I already knew what I survived. And what I built from the ashes. Every Sunday, Julian makes me terrible vending machine coffee. We sit in the villa's garden. Watch the sunrise paint the olive groves gold. Sometimes I think about that girl in the stairwell. Broken.
Crying.
Convinced she'd lost everything. I want to tell her. You didn't lose anything that mattered. You lost the weight you were never meant to carry. And one day, you'll be light enough to fly. My parents thought the villa, the ceremony, the 40 people who mattered, they thought it was designed to hurt them. They were wrong. Revenge was building something so real, so solid, so undeniably valuable that they couldn't diminish it. The girl they tried to erase became the woman they'll spend their lives trying to understand. They see me now every Sunday call that goes to voicemail. Every milestone they hear about secondhand. Every time they look in the mirror and remember what they almost destroyed.